Yeah, I know that was a very anticlimactic intro to a video, but this is going to be our POV drive with the all-new F-150 Lightning for the second channel, just to give you guys kind of an idea of what it's like to drive this around. This is going to be kind of more of an in-depth drive compared to what I initially did with the Lightning. But first off, visibility over the hood's great, just like every other F-150. You have blind spot monitoring here for the mirrors, as you guys can see, which also helps out. And then visibility also through the rear is great. We have this cool 360 camera system, which helps out, right? We can zoom in there. But we have a bunch of different viewpoints here outside of the truck. And so literally like any viewpoint that you would want, you have. So parking the truck, all that kind of stuff is not going to be an issue whatsoever. Other cool stuff here at the Lightning for this POV drive is we've got all these different drive modes. We also have one pedal drive, which we can turn on, which basically means that it will stop itself, right? Which is really cool. And so, yeah. But before we set off, first off, I do need to mention a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Miller Ford Lincoln here in Provo for giving me some time with this truck. This is their demo vehicle. So if you'd like to come and experience the Lightning, and then, you know, obviously put in your pre-order, whatever you're able to do with Ford's system now, then yeah, definitely check them out. Link their inventory in the description down below. They're all checking out their inventory right now. But anyways, one pedal drive. So that was, I'm not pressing the brake. It is braking for me, which is really cool, as you guys can see. Now, other things about the new Lightning. It has independent front and rear suspension. So what that means is this drives kind of like a truck car, is the best way to put it. It's, you know, it still is a pickup truck, so it still has that size, right? But it doesn't have leaf springs in the rear. It doesn't have a solid rear axle like most pickup trucks on the market. And so it definitely rides a lot smoother, especially when you go over bumps, right? And the best way to describe it is if you have a solid rear axle, basically what happens when you go over, and leaf springs, when you go over a bump, right, basically the bump will transfer across the axle, so you'll feel it a little bit more. And then on top of that, right, the leaf springs are pretty stiff. They're really good on the new F-150, but they're still pretty stiff. And so then the hit will be harsher, and then it'll transfer across, and so you'll feel it a lot more. Whereas with this independent suspension, and the fact that, well, it doesn't have, again, so it's independent suspension, doesn't have a solid axle, doesn't have leaf springs, you basically just have the impact on the one part of the truck, doesn't transfer across, and then the compression is a little bit better. And so it's weird. This is a pickup truck, but it feels very car-like at the same time. Like, I'm high up off the ground like in a pickup truck, and like, you know, I've got a bed in the back, and like I feel like I'm in a pickup truck, but at the same time I don't. It's a very unique experience. Now, if you guys are wondering, if I turn off the one pedal drive, here's what it normally drives like. So I'll let off and it just coasts like a normal vehicle. So like, if you are making the switch from a traditional pickup truck to the Lightning, then just don't use one pedal drive for the initial driving, so you can kind of get used to like the crazy power that this has and the acceleration that comes with it. And then, you know, once you're kind of used to that, then you can implement the one pedal drive. The reason you want to use one pedal drive is you are going to get a little bit more range out of the truck, right? So there is that benefit for sure, because it's going to do a little bit more regeneration. But yeah, it definitely does take a second to get used to. But I would say that, you know, after driving a bunch of electric vehicles and hybrid vehicles that have a one pedal drive system, I really like it, because it actually lends to a slightly easier driving experience, because like, you're basically on the gas, and if you ever have to slow down, you just let your foot off the gas. You're not having to press into the brake, really, because it slows down aggressively enough. Now, obviously, in emergency situations, you're going to want to do the brake, but it slows down enough that it basically is, it's just a little more comfortable, as you're just like, you just let go for a second. So we are going to be getting up. So I'm in the normal mode. I'm not going to put it in the sport mode yet, so you guys can kind of just see mild acceleration. And so like, this truck just gets up and moves. So this obviously has the dual motor setup, and it's got the extended range. So this has 775 pound-feet of torque, 580 horsepower. It was originally 563, but Ford bumped it up to 580 is what they said once they did their final testing. 320 miles of range with the new Lightning. You guys can see right now I've got 225 miles of range left on this truck, and notice it shows what's happening here on the gauge cluster, which is pretty cool. Like right now it says, hey, you're using a little bit of power. And then, you know, once I let off and start doing the regeneration, it shows that we're charging. And look at the difference. So I'll take it off, one pedal drive, and I'll let go. And it, look, slight regeneration. It's like a little bar, okay? So I'll kind of get up to speed again here and then let off. Look how much more aggressive the regen is. So that's, again, that's the benefit of one pedal drive, is you're going to recoup quite a bit more range. Something else that I really like about the new Lightning is you've got these temperature gauges here. So obviously we don't have an engine under the hood. This is for like the battery, for example, and the motors and everything. And so it basically just lets us know, like, hey, is the electrical system overheating? Especially if you're going to be towing with this truck, right? Or if you're going to be in a very, very, very hot environment, like maybe you're in the southern United States, like Arizona or New Mexico or something like that. And so that's a huge benefit. But yeah, this truck is so comfortable. And something's cool about the Lightning is because it just looks like a regular F-150, it doesn't get like a crazy amount of attention, which I like, because sometimes when you get these like new EVs out there, they get so much attention that like you can't drive anywhere. You're like a celebrity, basically. Everyone's like, oh, is that the new Tesla, whatever, whatever? Oh, is that the new whatever, whatever? Whereas with this, you can just go places and just do normal people stuff and fly under the radar. And I like that. I'm glad that Ford didn't go crazy with the styling, especially, you know, with what Chevy did with the Silverado EV. That truck is interesting looking, to say the least. But this truck's really easy to drive around. And again, having independent front and rear suspension means that handling's great. This handles far better than a regular F-150. And again, being electric, you're gonna have the weight lower down in the truck, which also helps out. Now I'm gonna pop into the sport mode. It instantly gets a little bit more aggressive. Like when you go from normal to sport, you can feel like less pressure into the pedal causes more acceleration. Like the pedal itself actually kind of seems to firm up a little bit, but it's quick. It seems to like, so like 0 to 60 is just crazy with this truck. Once you get above, you can kind of feel it start to taper off a little bit, where like, you know, a regular internal combustion engine car would still kind of be going. But it's still like, this is a pickup truck, for goodness sakes. Like, you don't need this much acceleration. Like, this is absolutely just crazy. Now, this is downhill. I'm just gonna make sure that nobody is behind me. Okay, so I'm just gonna do a regen test here, so you guys can kind of see, like, look how aggressive it slows down. But again, if I needed to, if I needed to get back up and move again, it'll do that too. Like, it's crazy. But the regen is really solid. So like, if you're going down a really steep like canyon or something like that, you just put it in the one pedal drive and you're not gonna have to ride your brakes all the way down the canyon, and you're gonna recoup a lot of your charge. So if you drive up a canyon and then back down the canyon, right, you might be able to recoup like most of the lost charge that you had, which I think is pretty cool. And obviously that's definitely economical. Even I'm partially on the pedal, just holding speed, the battery's charging, holding speed. And that's not, you know, trying to slow down. If I try to slow down, it'd regen even harder, but just trying to maintain my speed. And then once you get into flat ground, a lot of the times it's break even, or you use a little bit. But if you're just trying to maintain your speed and it's not super fast and you're just on flat terrain, it's pretty much break even. Like, you're not gaining any charge, but you aren't really using any charge, which is so cool. So overall, right, this is, you know, kind of like another like drive and kind of, again, point of view for the second channel, more in-depth drive with the truck. And I purposely did this the next day after I did my Lightning review, because I wanted to sleep on it a little bit. I wanted to be able to give you guys more in-depth impressions. And again, I really appreciate the Ford and Provo for being so accommodating and letting me have time with their demo vehicle. I purposely came here during like down hours, so there's like not a bunch of customers trying to test drive this right now, so I don't get in anyone's ways. But still, just really appreciative of it. And you know, I'll be continuing to work with them to get more content to you guys on the Lightning. So the way you guys can repay this content is go and order a truck, or, you know, any Ford from the Ford and Provo. But, you know, after driving this around more, I like this truck more and more. It's so comfortable. And, you know, for a lot of you that buy pickup trucks that aren't necessarily going to use it super often for pickup truck stuff, maybe you're going to do the occasional tow, not that far. Maybe you're just going to be, you know, occasionally hauling things, again, not that far. But, you know, the biggest thing is you're just going to be daily driving this. This is so much better than a regular pickup truck. Acceleration is way better. It's so much more comfortable from a suspension standpoint. And again, it's got all the regular F-150 amenities. And so it's like, you get all these benefits and no downsides. The only downside really that the biggest downside I see is obviously the range loss when you tow and haul. But if you're not gonna be doing that on a regular basis, which most pickup truck owners don't do that. Like I own 2 pickup trucks, and I know a lot of people that own pickup trucks, and most of them, like, they maybe occasionally will haul stuff on the weekend, and it's not like they're going across the country. It's like they're going like 50 miles from where they live, and this has 320 miles of range. You're gonna lose quite a bit of it towing, but if you're going to be going like 50 to 100 miles, you should be fine to haul and tow stuff. And so I think this truck works for most people. And I think it works better than a regular F-150 because it's so comfortable. And so, yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna call this ahead of time. I would not be shocked if this ends up winning Vehicle of the Year. I'm serious. Like, it's that good. And it's got Ford's build quality that you don't get with Teslas. Like, this doesn't have crazy panel gaps, and everything works. And so, yeah, Ford's first, you know, quote-unquote attempt at an electric pickup truck, they nailed it. Ford knows how to build trucks. Ford knows how to build trucks, that is for sure. So, yeah. Again, like I said, can't thank the Ford here in Provo enough. But that's so weird with the one-pedal drive. You, like, yeah, you can't let off at all. But yeah, overall, this thing's great. Hopefully you guys already have your orders in or whatever, or your pre-orders in, because more people are gonna be jumping on this. I can tell you that right now.